Hi everybody, welcome back to Phil on Gold. This is the second part of this melting down the scrap and reforming it video. If you remember, when we started I showed you some scrap like this, and we took some of that, put it into a crucible and started to melt it. Unfortunately it wasn't a very good melting process, but anyway. And what I intend to do is to end up with something like this. This is sheet silver and this is round bar or round wire silver. Okay, so if you remember from part one, we ended up with a little bit of silver like this. It's dirty. Now what you would normally do is you just warm it up a little bit and put it into a thing that we call pickle. It's normally a concentrate of sulfuric acid and water. Some use 10%, some use a bit stronger. Okay, there are neutral pickles that you can get nowadays, but a professional jeweller would just normally use a bit of sulfuric. So we've got a little lump of metal here, and when I say metal, it's a lump of silver. We would take it over to a swage block and hit it with a hammer, and then we would anneal it, because as I said in part one, we make jewellery with cold metals. We don't forge like a blacksmith would. And gold, silver and precious metals work harden. So if you hit them, bend them, stretch them, stick them through a roller like this, they become very, very hard. So you have to anneal them. Okay, I'll show you the annealing process on another video, but essentially make this nice and pliable, get it to a consistency where we can stick it through the rollers. If you notice, this bit here does the flat and this bit here does square wire. Okay. So, if we can move back to the workbench a little bit, my lovely wife on the camera again today. Okay, what we end up with is something that looks, when we put it through the roller, that's a little bit of sheet. Okay, this is quite warm, so I need to be very careful from the first part of this video. That's a piece of silver sheet, believe it or not. I reckon that's about, what, 1.5 mil. Once I've cleaned it up a little bit, you'll see. And that's a piece of square bar. I haven't put a micrometer on it, but I think it's probably about 3 mil square. Okay. And that was all made from this, which is scrap. Now, I reckon most people have got some gold jewellery or some silver jewellery that they don't use anymore. I know the world was screaming and shouting about selling all your jewellery a few years ago because the price of gold went through the roof. Well, people don't want to get rid of Granny's wedding ring or your mum's old ring or something like this, or somebody, maybe an ex-boyfriend gave you a ring which you don't like, but it's got gold in it. We can take that gold and melt it down in the same process as we've done silver. It's not really worth handing in lots of bits of silver to melt down, because there's just no money in it by the time you've paid for me to melt it down. But with gold, yes, there's a good reason. This bit here, that's a piece of gold. I don't know whether my lovely assistant can zoom in any more than she is doing. Okay, but that's a piece of gold. Again, that was scrap a few weeks ago. Okay, so to make this look a little bit more like the silver you're used to, I can take this, which we call a buffing stick. It's basically emery cloth, wet and dry I should say, wrapped round a bit of wood to give it a form. This we use for flat surfaces, and we have a round one for round surfaces. Okay, radiuses inside of rings and stuff like that. But if I can just put this on the bench a bit and give it a bit of a buff. Okay. Right, there we are. So you can see now. You probably recognise that as silver, but you might not recognise that as silver. And that's what you can do with your spare precious metals. Okay? And I say that's the square bar. Alright, so that's it for this one, guys. We'll be back very shortly with another exciting video. Thanks for watching Phil on Gold, and take care. Bye bye.